The sun rose over Earth, casting a warm glow on the cities below. People started their day unaware of the storm brewing in the sky. High above, a massive alien ship hovered, hidden by clouds. Inside, the alien commander looked down at the blue planet with cold, calculating eyes. Today was the day they would strike. In the bustling city of New York, Sarah, a brave soldier, was finishing her morning run. She loved the energy of the city, but as she ran, something felt off. A strange rumble echoed in the air, making her stop. She looked up and gasped. The sky darkened as the alien ship blocked out the sun. Panic spread like wildfire. Sarah's heart raced. She knew something terrible was about to happen. Meanwhile, in a small lab across town, Dr. David Chen, a clever scientist, was working on his latest project. He had devoted years to studying ancient technology. As he pored over his notes, the ground shook violently. He jumped up, his heart pounding. What is happening? He wondered. He rushed to the window and froze in shock as he saw the alien ship unleash beams of energy. Buildings exploded, sending debris flying everywhere. In a nearby engineering workshop, Marcus, a quick-thinking engineer, was fixing machines. The sudden blast from the aliens shattered the windows, and glass rained down around him. He ducked for cover, his mind racing. I have to help, he thought. He grabbed his tools and ran outside where chaos reigned. People screamed and ran in every direction. The city was in ruins. As Sarah fought her way through the streets, she spotted a group of terrified civilians trapped under rubble. Without a second thought, she rushed to help them. Stay calm, I'll get you out, she shouted, using her strength to lift the heavy debris. With every ounce of her energy, she freed the first person, then the second. As the last person crawled out, she heard the deafening roar of the alien ships above. They were firing indiscriminately, and she had to move fast. Dr. Chen realized the aliens would not stop until they had complete control. He needed to warn others. He ran to his lab, quickly gathering his research notes and any technology he could salvage. I need to find Sarah and Marcus, he thought. He knew they would be crucial in the fight against the aliens. As the streets burned and people cried out, Marcus found himself face to face with an alien soldier. The creature was tall and menacing, its skin shimmering in the chaos. Marcus's heart raced, but he couldn't show fear. He grabbed a nearby pipe and swung it at the alien, hitting it in the leg. The alien staggered back, surprised by the human's bravery. I'm not going down without a fight, Marcus yelled, determination filling his voice. In that moment, Sarah and Marcus locked eyes from across the street. We need to regroup, Sarah shouted. They both knew they couldn't face this threat alone. Together, they fought their way through the streets, helping others and gathering anyone willing to stand up against the alien invasion. As they reached a nearby park, they found Dr. Chen waiting for them, looking frantic. I have a plan, he shouted over the noise. But we need to act fast. The aliens are planning something big and we have to stop them. The three heroes stood together, each representing a piece of humanity's strength. They felt the weight of the world on their shoulders, but they also felt something else, hope. In the darkest hour, they had each other. They would not let fear take over. Together, they would rise against the alien threat and fight to save their home. As the sun began to set, casting an orange glow over the chaos, they formed a plan. It would take everything they had, but they were ready. The attack had begun, but so had their fight to emerge as heroes. The chaos in the city grew louder as the sun dipped lower in the sky. Sarah, Marcus, and Dr. Chen took shelter in the park, breathing heavily and trying to gather their thoughts. The sound of distant explosions and cries filled the air, but they had to focus. The three knew they had to come together to survive and fight back. Listen, Sarah began, her voice steady despite the fear in her heart. We can't fight these aliens alone. We need a plan, and we need to find more people who can help us. Marcus nodded, still feeling adrenaline rush through him. I saw a group of people hiding in a nearby building. If we can reach them, we can form a bigger team. He glanced at Dr. Chen, who was looking through his notes. Do you have any technology that can help us fight back? Dr. Chen adjusted his glasses and looked up, determination shining in his eyes. Yes! I've been studying ancient technology for years. Some of it could help us create defenses or even weapons against the aliens. He pointed to a device in his bag. If we can find a safe place to work, we can turn this into something powerful. With their mission clear, the trio made their way toward the nearby building. They moved cautiously, keeping low to the ground and listening for alien patrols. The streets were dangerous, but they pushed forward, driven by the hope of uniting others. As they approached the building, they spotted a group of frightened people huddled together, looking lost and terrified. "Over here!" Sarah called, waving her arms to get their attention. The group looked up, eyes wide with fear, but as they recognized Sarah, they began to gather around her. "Thank goodness you're here," a woman said, tears in her eyes. "We thought we were going to die." "We're not done fighting yet," Sarah replied firmly. "We need everyone's help. The aliens are powerful, but together we can defend our city and our planet." The crowd listened intently as Marcus shared their plan. "We can gather supplies and create makeshift weapons. Dr. Chen has ideas for using ancient technology to help us. We need to work quickly and smartly." The group nodded, determination growing among them. As they started to collect supplies from nearby stores, Marcus and Sarah split up with some of the new members to gather food, water, and anything that could be used as a weapon. Dr. Chen stayed behind, working on the device he had brought. Hours passed, but their efforts began to pay off. The group transformed everyday items into tools of survival. Pipes became staffs, kitchen knives turned into makeshift daggers, and they even found a few old baseball bats. They worked together, forging bonds and building trust in each other. Meanwhile, Dr. Chen was focused on his work. "If I can just modify this energy source," he murmured to himself, "we could create a shield to protect us from alien attacks." Sweat dripped down his forehead as he carefully soldered wires together. As night fell, a sense of urgency filled the air. The aliens continued their assault, but the group felt stronger together. With their supplies gathered and Dr. Chen's device almost ready, they felt a flicker of hope. Finally, Dr. Chen stood up, holding a small device that glowed with a faint blue light. "I think it's ready! This will help us protect ourselves for a short time, but we need to be quick." "Great job," Sarah cheered, a smile breaking across her face. "Now, let's put this to use and show those aliens what we're made of." With renewed energy, they gathered in a circle, each person holding their makeshift weapons. Sarah raised her bat, rallying the group. "We will fight for our homes. We will protect each other. Together we are strong." The group cheered, their voices echoing through the night. They knew the battle ahead would be tough, but they were no longer alone. They had united for survival, and in that unity they found strength. As they prepared to head out, they glanced at the dark skies filled with alien ships. Fear was still present, but it was mixed with courage and determination. They were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Together, they would fight back and show the universe that humanity could rise against the darkness. The night air was thick with tension as the group prepared for their first real attack against the alien invaders. With makeshift weapons in hand and Dr. Chen's device ready, they felt a mix of fear and determination. They gathered together in a small alley, whispering their plans to avoid drawing attention from the aliens flying overhead. "Okay, everyone," Sarah said, her voice steady. "We will split into two teams. One team will create a distraction, while the other will sneak into the main alien base and gather information. We need to know what they're planning." Marcus nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility. "I'll lead the distraction team. We'll make noise and draw the aliens away from the base. That should give you time to sneak in." "Be careful," Sarah warned, looking directly into his eyes. "We need you back safe." With quick goodbyes, the teams prepared to head out. Sarah, Dr. Chen, and a few others quietly approached the alien base, where lights flashed ominously. The sound of alien chatter echoed around them, and their hearts raced. As they crept closer, they heard the unmistakable sounds of machinery whirring and alien voices arguing. "This is it," Dr. Chen whispered. "Let's get inside and see what we can find." The group slipped into the shadows, avoiding the light from the aliens' patrols. The atmosphere was thick with fear as they entered the base, moving carefully. The walls were cold, and strange symbols glowed faintly, illuminating their path. "Stay close," Sarah instructed, leading the way. Suddenly, they heard a loud crash outside. The distraction team had started their mission. Loud shouts and explosions filled the air, making the ground tremble. "Let's hurry," Dr. Chen urged, glancing nervously at the entrance. "We don't have much time." They moved deeper into the base, searching for information. After a few minutes of tense searching, they stumbled upon a room filled with strange devices and monitors. "This must be their control center," Sarah exclaimed, her eyes wide with excitement. Dr. Chen rushed to the nearest computer, quickly typing away. "If I can access their files, we can learn their plans." His fingers danced over the keys and the screen filled with alien symbols. Just then, an alarm blared through the base, echoing off the walls. "They've found us!" shouted one of the group members. Panic spread among them as they realized they were running out of time. "We have to get out now!" As they turned to flee, the door burst open and several alien soldiers stormed in, their eyes glowing with fury. "Humans!" one of them shouted in a strange, harsh language. "You will pay for this!" "Run!" Sarah yelled, leading the charge back toward the entrance. The group sprinted down the corridor, the aliens hot on their heels. Heart pounding, Sarah felt fear gripping her, but she pushed it aside. They had to escape. They reached a hallway that split into two directions. "Which way?" someone shouted, panic in their voice. "Left!" Dr. Chen called out, remembering the layout he had seen on the monitors. They dashed left, and as they turned the corner, they found themselves facing a locked door. "It's locked!" someone cried. "I can open it!" Dr. Chen shouted, rushing to the door panel. He worked frantically, his fingers moving quickly. Just as the aliens rounded the corner, the door slid open. "Go, go, go!" he urged. They squeezed through the door, and Sarah slammed it shut behind them, holding her breath. The group was in a dark room filled with old equipment. "Is everyone here?" Sarah asked, counting heads. "Where's Marcus?" A few moments later, the distraction team burst in through a different entrance, Marcus at the front, breathless but smiling. "We made it!" The aliens are confused. "We have time to regroup." Relief washed over the group as they realized they were safe for the moment. They had faced the challenge of infiltrating the alien base, and though they had encountered danger, they had also gained valuable information. Dr. Chen, still panting, spoke up. "I downloaded their plans. They want to launch a massive attack on the remaining cities. We have to warn everyone and prepare for the next battle." Sarah nodded, her resolve strengthening. "We can't let them win. We need to come together as one. We will fight and we will win. No matter what challenges we face, we will stand strong." With newfound determination, the group began to plan their next move, knowing that together they could face anything the aliens threw at them. In the face of fear, they found courage. In the darkest hour, they would not back down. Together, they would emerge as heroes. The night was heavy with tension as Sarah, Marcus, Dr. Chen, and the rest of their group prepared for their most dangerous. After gathering vital information from the alien base, they knew they had to act quickly. The aliens planned a massive attack on their remaining cities, and they had to stop it. "Tonight, we sneak into the heart of the alien mothership," Sarah announced, her voice firm and steady. "We need to find their main control room and disable their systems. If we can do that, we can prevent their attack." The group gathered around, eyes wide with determination. They had faced many challenges, but this one felt different. The mothership loomed above them, an enormous shadow against the night sky. It was intimidating, but they knew they had to push forward. As they approached the mothership, they moved quietly, staying in the shadows. The entrance was heavily guarded by alien soldiers, their strange forms illuminated by the eerie glow of the ship's lights. "We need a plan," Marcus whispered, looking around for any weaknesses. Dr. Chen studied the ship, his mind racing. "If we can create a distraction, we can slip in while they are focused on that. I can modify the device I built to create a small explosion nearby." "Good idea," Sarah agreed. "Let's do it quickly. We don't have much time." While Dr. Chen worked on the device, the others took their positions, ready to create a diversion. The air was thick with anticipation as they waited for the moment to strike. When Dr. Chen finished, he handed the device to Marcus. "When you set it off, we'll have a few seconds to get inside." Marcus took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the device in his hand. "Let's do this," he said, his voice filled with determination. As they executed their plan, Marcus threw the device into the distance, and a loud explosion erupted, lighting up the night sky. The alien guards immediately turned, rushing towards the sound. "Now!" Sarah shouted, and the group sprinted toward the entrance of the mothership. They slipped through the open door just as it began to close, narrowly avoiding detection. Inside, the atmosphere was unlike anything they had ever experienced. Strange machinery buzzed and hummed around them, and the air was filled with an alien scent that was both fascinating and unsettling. "Stay close," Sarah instructed, leading the way through the dimly lit corridors. They moved cautiously, trying to avoid the patrolling alien soldiers. The layout of the ship was complex, with twisting hallways and strange symbols on the walls. As they navigated the ship, they heard alien voices echoing in the distance. "We need to find the control room," Dr. Chen urged, his eyes scanning for any signs or maps. "It should be near the center of the ship." After what felt like an eternity of creeping through the halls, they finally found a map displayed on a large screen. "Here!" Dr. Chen pointed to a glowing dot. "This is the control room!" But just as they turned to leave, an alarm blared throughout the ship. Red lights flashed, bathing the corridor in a frightening glow. "They know we're here!" Marcus yelled, panic rising in his voice. "Run!" Sarah commanded. They sprinted down the corridor, hearts racing as the sound of alien footsteps echoed behind them. The group moved quickly, using their knowledge of the ship's layout to evade capture. They rounded a corner and saw a door ahead. "That must be it," Sarah shouted, pointing to the glowing entrance labeled Control Room. They rushed toward it, but before they could reach the door, a group of alien soldiers appeared, blocking their path. "Stop!" one of the aliens commanded, raising a weapon. Thinking quickly, Sarah shouted, "Dr. Chen! The device!" Dr. Chen quickly activated the small device he had modified. It whirred to life, and a blinding flash filled the corridor. The aliens staggered back, momentarily blinded. "Now!" Sarah yelled, and they bolted through the door just as the aliens regained their senses. Inside the control room, they were met with a breathtaking sight. Monitors covered the walls, displaying images of Earth and the alien ships preparing for their attack. "We have to disable their systems!" Dr. Chen exclaimed, rushing to one of the control panels. While he worked frantically, Sarah and Marcus kept watch, ready to defend their team. "Hurry, Dr. Chen," Marcus urged, glancing nervously at the door. They could hear the aliens regrouping outside, their voices growing louder. "I'm trying!" Dr. Chen replied, sweat pouring down his forehead. With every passing second, the pressure mounted. The fate of their planet rested in their hands. Finally, Dr. Chen shouted, "I did it! I'm overriding their systems!" The monitors flickered, and the lights in the control room dimmed. "Now we need to destroy the main power source. It will disable their entire fleet! Let's go!" Sarah yelled, determination blazing in her eyes. They knew they had to act quickly before the aliens found them. Together, they rushed to the power source, their hearts pounding with adrenaline. In that moment, they were not just fighting for themselves, they were fighting for humanity's future. They were ready to take the next step into the unknown, and nothing could hold them back. The atmosphere inside the alien mothership was charged with urgency. Sarah, Marcus, Dr. Chen, and the rest of the team stood at the main power source, their hearts racing as they prepared for the final act of their daring mission. Time was running out, and the fate of Earth rested in their hands. "We have to make this count," Sarah said, glancing at the blinking lights and screens around them. "If we destroy this power source, it will disable their entire fleet. We can't let them attack our cities." Dr. Chen nodded, focused and determined. "I'll set the device to overload. It will create a massive explosion. But we need to get out of here fast." As he worked, Marcus stood guard, his makeshift weapon ready. The sound of alien footsteps echoed outside, growing louder. "We don't have much time," he warned, anxiety creeping into his voice. "They're coming for us." "Almost done," Dr. Chen called, his fingers flying over the controls. Just a few more seconds. Suddenly, the door burst open and several alien soldiers stormed in, their eyes glowing with anger. "Humans!" one of them shouted. "You will not escape! Run!" Sarah yelled, pushing everyone toward the exit. They darted out of the control room, the aliens hot on their heels. The corridor was filled with chaos, and the sound of their pursuers filled the air. "Split up!" Marcus shouted as they reached a fork in the hallway. "We'll confuse them!" Without hesitating, the group divided into two, each team rushing down a different corridor. Sarah and Marcus led one group, while Dr. Chen and the others took another route. "We have to find a way to the escape pods," Sarah called, trying to stay calm. As they ran, Sarah could hear the sounds of battle behind them. The aliens were relentless, but they couldn't let fear stop them. They pushed forward, determined to escape. After what felt like an eternity, they found an emergency exit leading to the escape pods. "There!" Sarah pointed, feeling a spark of hope. They rushed toward the door, but it was locked tight. "Let me try!" Marcus shouted, stepping forward to examine the panel. He pressed buttons frantically, but the door remained closed. "Come on! Open up!" Just then, the sound of alien soldiers approaching filled the air.
Panic surged within them.
"We don't have time," Sarah urged. "We need to find another way." Suddenly, Dr. Chen appeared, breathless but determined. "I can override the lock! I found a terminal back there!" He rushed to the panel, his fingers flying over the keys. "Make it quick!" Sarah shouted, glancing back down the hallway. The aliens were closing in fast. With a final press of the button, the door hissed open. "Go!" Dr. Chen urged, and they scrambled inside the escape pod. The room was cramped, but they all squeezed in, their hearts pounding with adrenaline. "Where's the control panel?" Marcus asked, looking around. "We need to launch!" Dr. Chen quickly found the controls and started pressing buttons. "I hope this works." He glanced at the others, fear flashing in his eyes. "We're about to find out!" The pod shook as the engines roared to life. They felt the jolt as the pod launched away from the mothership, leaving the chaos behind. They were finally free, but their relief was short-lived as they saw the alien ship still looming in the sky. "Look!" Sarah pointed at the monitors inside the pod. They watched as the mothership began to shake and explode from within, the light of the blast illuminating the darkness of space. "We did it! We destroyed their power source!" Cheers erupted among the group as they watched the chaos unfold. The alien ships, now without control, began to collide with each other in a spectacular display of fire and destruction. "Let's get back to Earth," Marcus shouted, a smile spreading across his face. "We have to warn everyone!" Dr. Chen focused on the controls, steering the pod back toward their home. The journey felt long, but their spirits were high. They had faced danger and uncertainty, but together they had emerged victorious. As they descended through the atmosphere, the familiar sights of Earth came into view. The green fields, the blue oceans, and the cities glimmering in the sunlight filled them with hope. When they landed safely, the group rushed out of the pod filled with a sense of purpose. They were greeted by a crowd of survivors who had gathered, eyes wide with anticipation. "We did it!" Sarah exclaimed, raising her arms in triumph. "We stopped the aliens! We fought together and we won!" Cheers erupted from the crowd as they celebrated their victory. The battle had been tough, but in the end, humanity had stood strong against the darkness. They had proven that even in the darkest hour, hope could shine through, and together they could emerge as heroes.